Welcome to the second episode of Biz in Poland podcast. My name is Søren Christensen. I am your host and I'm the owner of bizinpoland.com, your key to the Polish market. But enough chit-chat, let's get down to business. Today the episode is about pros and cons regarding doing business in Poland, and let's start with the pros. It is very likely that you already are aware of that Poland is a very good country to do business in, because in recent years Poland has been at the top of various surveys when it comes to which countries are the best to do business in, and that's worldwide. One of the reasons is that Poland's economy remains strong even after the lockdown caused by the coronavirus. Moreover, Poland was one of the very few countries in the world that went through the financial crisis back in 2008 and the following years without major losses. And for decades, Poland has had a GDP that grew from year to year, but it was of course also negatively affected by the pandemic last year. In 2021, the GDP in Poland is projected to have recovered by 3.7% in total and to grow by more than 5% in 2022. Some even say it will grow even more. It of course also depends if new COVID lockdowns will come or not, and if yes, for how long. These weeks the numbers of affected are very high, but I will say quite stable. So maybe we have avoid a new lockdown, but only time will tell, of course. Another problem is the inflation that is growing, unfortunately. But for now, the economy in Poland is in a general good condition. The online business is, for example, flourishing in Poland. E-commerce has grown very fast in Poland with a double-digit increase in revenue that in 2018 exceeded 50 billion zloty. In 2020, e-commerce grew by 35% in Poland compared to a 16% growth rate in 2019. According to a PricewaterhouseCoopers analyst, the value of the market reached a total of $26 billion in 2020. The market is expected to experience an estimated 12% year-on-year growth for the next 5 years and is expected to reach $42.3 billion in 2026. In 2020, Poland's online sales totaled 14% of all retail sales, which was significantly lower than the EU average. In the first quarter of 2021, when shopping centers reopened, online sales declined to 9.5% of the retail sales. However, in 2026, e-commerce is expected to account for 20% of all retail sales in Poland. The B2B e-commerce segment also experienced dynamic growth in 2020, reaching an estimated $90 billion. And in Poland, 84% of B2B companies sells online, though 79% of these companies generated less than 10% turnover through their online sales. The numbers are according to the Polish authorities, and as you can hear, there are a lot of money to be earned in this market in Poland. I will in another podcast episode, but a premium one, go into details regarding e-commerce in Poland, and I will also mention the tools that is a must when you are doing e-commerce business in Poland. I have had webshops in Poland, so I know the e-commerce market in Poland very well, and besides that, I'm also knowing about it from the perspective of being a customer myself here in Poland. But if you can't wait for that and you want to do online business in Poland right away, then write me at info@bizinpoland.com and I will offer you my consultant services regarding the Polish e-commerce market. Another pro for doing business in Poland is the education level. There are many millions of well-educated people in Poland, and especially in the cities. Moreover, the salaries in Poland are in general low compared with most countries in Europe, and that despite the fact that the Polish salaries have increased a lot in the last few years. The taxes are also still low in Poland compared to many other European countries, and it will also be so after the big Polish tax reform called the Polish Deal that will be implemented in the beginning of 2022. I will cover the new big Polish tax reform in a podcast episode before we go into 2022. But I recommend you strongly to contact your accountant in Poland if you already are doing business here, or if you are in the process of doing so. Those positive aspects of doing business in Poland are also some of the reasons why many foreign companies still are outsourcing to Poland. One of the industries that is especially growing a lot these years in Poland due to outsourcing is the IT sector. One reason is also that Poland has approximately 25% of all IT developers in Central and Eastern Europe. Not only Polish citizens, but also, for example, people from Ukraine, Belarus, and India. The IT sector in Poland is also a business area I will cover in an episode in the future. But if you already know you will have IT projects in or related to Poland, then please contact me. I am offering my consultant services regarding IT projects related to Poland, and you can read more about it at businesspoland.com and or write me at info@businesspoland.com. I have worked years with and in this industry, so I can help you and your business regarding IT projects related to Poland. Location is important when we are talking real estate, but it also goes in general for doing business. And that brings me to another positive aspect regarding doing business in Poland, and it is the country's location in Europe. Poland is more or less located in the center of Europe and therefore close to most parts of Europe, so you can fast ship products within Europe, and you can pretty quickly go to, for example, Scandinavia or Southern Europe by plane. And Warsaw already has an international airport ready, but a bigger international airport will be built in the coming years. And of course, it's also possible to quickly take the plane between the largest cities in Poland. In these years, the network of highways in Poland has been expanded or renovated, and the same goes for the trains. Many new train wagons are introduced, and especially the Pendolino train, that is, by the way, built in Poland, is worth using because of its comfort and high speed. And in other words, the Polish infrastructure is greatly improved compared to just a decade ago, so getting around Poland for business meetings is much easier, so companies can save time and thereby also money. That was just some of the pros regarding doing business in Poland, but there are, of course, like everywhere, also some cons. One of the negative aspects regarding doing business in Poland is still the bureaucracy. Sometimes it's difficult to get a hold of the right person, and when you do so, you can have spent a lot of time on it. And as an entrepreneur, you know that time is money. It is a much smaller problem now than just 5 to 7 years ago, but there is still a lot of paperwork that could be handled more smoothly and less bureaucratic, in my opinion. That leads me to another con regarding doing business in Poland, and that is the slow digitization in Poland. It is far behind in this area, especially when we compare Poland to Scandinavia. It is not regarding payment. Poland is in the top in this area, but I'm talking about handling most documents online and stuff like that. But it has become much, much better. Now you can have a digital profile to handle some paperwork without visiting a public office, which was not possible just a few years back. But it goes way too slow in my opinion, especially when you take into account that the digital payments in Poland are top-notch compared to most countries in the world. So a visit to a public office is still something you now and then have to do. And that leads me to the next challenge regarding doing business in Poland. The Polish language barrier can still be a challenge and therefore another negative aspect of doing business in Poland. But more and more people are speaking English, especially in the cities. But you can meet people who can't or are too embarrassed to speak English because they don't think they speak English well enough. But 9 out of 10 times it turns out that they speak very good English. But in the Polish countryside, it is rare to find English-speaking people. When it comes to other languages, such as French, Italian, Spanish, you have to go to the big cities to find people who speak those languages. And in some cases, it can be very specific, for example, when it comes to German speakers. I will cover that also in another episode. To sum it up, Poland is a great country to do business in, and the development in Poland is going fast in these years, so I can highly recommend you to start a business in Poland if you do not already do business here. If you need any advice regarding the Polish market, you can hire me as your consultant. You can read about my services and contact information at bizinpoland.com. And biz is, by the way, with a Z, B-I-Z in other words.
Business news from Poland. Put on the fortune and broke scale.
The positive Polish business news that I have found worthy to put on the fortune scale is that the real estate sales in Poland is increased by 12.4% in October compared to last year's October. And that's after an increase of 10% in September compared by 2020's September. It is Eurostat who reports that. In monthly terms, sales increased by 1.6%. The annual figures have been adjusted for the number of working days, and the monthly figures are also seasonally adjusted. Eurostat data also includes the smallest companies with less than 10 employees. In this case, small family stores is also included, but it does not include car sales, for example. The bad Polish business news is that the financial situation of 42% of Poles has deteriorated over the past 3 months. 45% of the respondents did not feel the change, and 13% indicated that the situations improved, according to a report commissioned by the Polish Bank Association, ZBP. The same question was asked last year, and compared to that survey, the percentage of people who declare a worsening of their financial situation increased by 3 percentage points. The share of people whose situation has improved increased by the same amount. As much as 63% of the respondents in the Mainz and Roses study intend to reduce their Christmas spending. Understandably, the greatest number of such indications is among people who have the worst financial situation and has worsened in the last year. In this group, as much as 83% of people point to the need to cut expenses, the release reads. One of the biggest reasons is, of course, the huge inflation. It does not say how many people were taking part in this survey, so that also have to be taken into consideration. That was all for now, and next time I will give you an overview of the Polish tax reform called the Polish Deal that will take effect from 1st of January. But I very strongly advise you already now to contact your accountant if you not already have done so. And remember, there are show notes on my website, businessinpoland.com, on the podcast page, if you would like some more information. Thank you for listening, and take care until next time.